Daniel Hayes stood in front of Riverside Coffee House, car keys still gripped in his palm. Every instinct screamed that this was a mistake, a pity date, a setup his friend Mark had orchestrated out of concern, not because anyone actually wanted to be here. He was 34 and felt 50, a single father, a freelance carpenter who smelled like sawdust most days. His idea of a Friday night was assembling Lego dinosaurs with Noah, his 7-year-old son, not sitting across from a stranger making forced conversation. Mark had cornered him at the lumber yard 3 days ago. Her name's Emma. She's great. Just meet her for coffee. I don't need this, Daniel had said. You need something, Mark replied. You've been alone for 3 years. Alone. The word sat in Daniel's chest like a stone. He wasn't alone. He had Noah. That was enough. But here he was, standing outside a coffee shop in Pine Ridge on a Thursday evening, watching his breath fog in the October air. Through the window, he could see couples at small tables, the warm glow of Edison bulbs, the barista pulling shots behind the counter. And then he saw her. She stood by the window facing the river, her profile sharp against the fading light. Auburn hair pulled back. Simple gray sweater. She wasn't checking her phone every 30 seconds like she was waiting for an escape route. She was just looking out at the water, calm, not like someone doing anyone a favor. Daniel pushed open the door. The smell of roasted coffee and cinnamon hit him first. She turned when the bell chimed. Their eyes met. Her expression didn't change. No forced smile. No visible assessment. Just a quiet acknowledgement. "Daniel?" she asked. "Yeah." He crossed the space between them, suddenly aware of the wood shavings probably still caught in his sleeve cuffs. "Emma? That's me." She gestured to the table. "Want to grab a drink first?" "Sure." "Yeah, coffee." He ordered a black coffee because it was simple. She got tea. They sat by the window where she'd been standing. "So," she said, wrapping her hands around the cup. "Mark set this up." "He did. He told you I was great?" Daniel almost laughed. "Those exact words. He told me you needed to get out more." The honesty cut through the awkwardness. Daniel looked at her properly then. Mid-30s, he guessed. Tired eyes but not broken. The kind of tired that came from carrying weight, not from giving up. "Did he tell you why?" Daniel asked. "He said you're a good father, that's all. Not single dad. Not raising a kid alone. Just a good father." Something in Daniel's chest loosened. "I don't usually do this," he said. "Neither do I." They sat in silence for a moment. Outside, the river moved slowly, catching the last copper light of sunset. "Why'd you say yes?" Daniel asked. Emma tilted her head slightly. "Why did you?" He didn't have a good answer. Or maybe he did, and it scared him. Because part of him, the part he'd buried under exhaustion and responsibility, wanted to believe he was still someone worth choosing. "Curiosity," he said finally. "Same." The conversation started small. The weather. Pine Ridge in autumn. The coffee shop's cinnamon rolls, which apparently were legendary. But it didn't feel small. Every exchange felt deliberate, like they were both testing the water temperature before diving in. Emma asked about his work. He told her about carpentry, about building custom furniture in the workshop behind his cabin. She listened like it mattered. "Do you like it?" she asked. "Most days." He paused. "I like making things that last." She nodded slowly. "That makes sense. What about you?" "Project manager. Construction firm." She smiled slightly. "I make sure other people make things that last." "You good at it?" "Very." There was no arrogance in it, just fact. The light outside faded completely. The coffee shop filled with evening regulars. Daniel realized he'd been there for 40 minutes and hadn't once thought about an exit strategy. "Can I ask you something?" Emma said. "Go ahead. Is this as weird for you as it is for me?" Daniel laughed. "A real one." "Yeah, good." She relaxed slightly. I wasn't sure. They stayed another hour. The conversation shifted when Emma asked about Pine Ridge. How long have you lived here? She said. Born here. Left for a few years. Came back about 8 years ago. What brought you back? Daniel hesitated. This was usually where the story got complicated, where people's expressions changed. Family stuff, he said carefully. Emma didn't push. She just nodded and looked back out at the river, now dark except for the reflection of streetlights on the water. I moved here 2 years ago, she said. From Denver. Big change. Needed one. She turned her cup in small circles on the table. I was married. Corporate job. Big house. Everything looked right from the outside. What happened? It wasn't. She said it simply. So I left. Sold the house, took a job here, started over. Daniel found himself leaning forward slightly. That take guts, or desperation. Emma smiled, but there was no humor in it. Hard to tell the difference sometimes. He understood that. The line between brave and desperate. He'd walked it when Jennifer left, when he'd suddenly become the only parent Noah had. Starting over's not easy, Daniel said. No, she met his eyes. But staying in something dead is harder. The words hung between them, true and sharp. A couple at the next table laughed loudly, breaking the moment. Emma glanced at her watch. I should probably go, she said. Daniel felt a small drop of disappointment. Yeah, me too. They walked outside together. The October air was cold now, carrying the smell of wood smoke from someone's fireplace. This was nice, Emma said. It was. She pulled her jacket tighter. Mark was right. You're easy to talk to. So are you. They stood there for a moment, neither moving toward their cars. Would you want to do this again? Emma asked. The question was direct. No games. Yeah, Daniel said. I would. Good. She pulled out her phone. Give me your number. They exchanged information. Her fingers moved quickly, efficient. I'll text you, she said. Okay. She walked to her car, a silver sedan parked near the corner. Daniel watched her go, then climbed into his truck. His phone buzzed before he'd even started the engine. That was better than I expected. Thanks for not making it weird. He smiled and typed back. Thanks for showing up. Wasn't sure you would. Same. He drove home to the cabin on the edge of Pine Ridge, where Sarah, his sister, was watching Noah. The house was dark except for the kitchen light. He found Noah asleep on the couch, wrapped in his dinosaur blanket, and Sarah reading on her tablet. How'd it go? She whispered. Daniel looked at his son's sleeping face, then at his phone. Different, he said quietly. Sarah raised an eyebrow. Good different? Maybe. He carried Noah to bed, tucked him in, and stood in the doorway for a moment watching his son breathe. This was his life, this small person who needed him. Everything else was just noise. But when he got to his own room and checked his phone again, there was another message from Emma. Sleep well, Daniel. He typed back. You too. And for the first time in a long time, he thought he might. They texted over the next few days. Nothing heavy. Emma would send a photo of a project site with a caption like, Contractors found another creative solution today. Daniel would reply with a picture of a chair he was refinishing. On Sunday afternoon, she called. Want to take a walk? She asked. There's a trail I've been meaning to check out. Which one? Silver Lake Trail. Supposed to have good views. Daniel knew it. He'd hiked it dozens of times, sometimes with Noah on his shoulders. When? Now? If you're free, Noah was at Jennifer's mother's house for the day, one of the rare scheduled visits. Daniel had the afternoon with nothing to fill it. I can do now. They met at the trailhead parking lot. Emma wore hiking boots and a navy jacket, her hair in a braid. She looked ready. The trail started easy, winding through pine trees and aspen groves, just starting to turn gold. They walked side by side, not talking much at first. The silence felt natural. After about 20 minutes, the trail opened up to a viewpoint overlooking the valley. Emma stopped, breathing slightly harder. "Okay," she said. "That's worth it." The town of Pine Ridge spread out below them, small and contained. Beyond it, mountains rolled toward the horizon. They sat on a flat rock. Emma pulled out a water bottle and took a long drink. "Can I ask you something?" she said. "Sure. Mark mentioned you have a son." There it was. The moment Daniel had been waiting for and dreading. "Yeah, Noah. He's 7. Emma nodded slowly. "What's he like? Not where's his mother? Not is that hard? Just what's he like?" Daniel felt something in his chest ease. "He's obsessed with dinosaurs. Knows more about the Jurassic period than most paleontologists. He builds things constantly. Legos, sticks, cardboard boxes, anything." Daniel smiled despite himself. "He's loud and messy and asks 10,000 questions a day. Sounds exhausting." "It is. And you love it." It wasn't a question. Emma was looking at him steadily. "Most days," Daniel said honestly. "Some days I'm just trying to survive until bedtime." "That's fair." They sat quietly for a moment. A hawk circled overhead. "His mom?" Emma asked carefully. Daniel's jaw tightened. "Jennifer. We weren't married. She left when Noah was 4. Decided she didn't want to be a mother anymore." He waited for the pity. The awkward sympathy. The way people's faces changed when they realized he was the parent who got left behind. Emma just nodded. "That must have been hell." "It was. For both of you." "Yeah." She didn't ask more. Didn't need the full story. The details of Jennifer's sudden departure, the custody agreement she hadn't fought, the years of Daniel learning to be enough for a small boy who kept asking when Mommy was coming back. "I don't usually tell people this early," Daniel said. "Tell them what?" "About Noah. About being a single dad." Emma turned to look at him. "Why not?" "Because it changes things. People either decide I'm too complicated or they think they can fix me." He picked up a small stone, turned it over in his fingers. "Either way, they leave. I'm still here. It's been 1 coffee and 1 hike. True." Emma stood, brushed off her jeans. "But I'm not running yet." They hiked back as the afternoon light turned golden. At the parking lot, Emma leaned against her car. "Can I be honest with you?" she said. "Please. I don't know what I'm doing either. I haven't dated since my divorce. I work too much. I'm not looking for a project or someone to fix. I like that you don't perform." "Perform?" "Pretend. Try to impress me. Act like you have it all together." Daniel laughed softly. "I definitely don't have it all together." "I know. That's why this works." She got in her car but rolled down the window. "Next time," she said, "tell me about the dinosaurs. I want to know which one's his favorite." She drove away before Daniel could answer. He sat in his truck for a long time, watching the sun sink behind the mountains. Emma texted him 2 days later. "Triceratops or T-Rex?" Daniel stared at his phone, then smiled. "Ankylosaurus. The armored one with the club tail. Good choice. Underrated. You know dinosaurs?" "I know enough to sound informed." Brothers. They were obsessed. Over the next week, they fell into a rhythm. Messages throughout the day. A phone call in the evening after Noah was asleep. Emma would tell him about budget overruns and difficult contractors. Daniel would share stories about Noah's latest Lego creation or the kitchen table he was building for a client. It felt easy. Too easy. That scared him. On Friday, Emma called just after 8. "What are you doing tomorrow?" she asked. "Workshop in the morning. Noah in the afternoon." "Why?" "I'm going to the farmer's market." "Want to come?" "Both of you." Daniel's hand tightened on the phone. "You want to meet Noah? If that's okay." His mind raced. This was the line he'd never crossed with anyone since Jennifer. Noah was his, protected. The one part of his life Daniel didn't share, but Emma had asked simply, without pressure. Let me think about it, Daniel said. Of course, no rush. After they hung up, Daniel sat on the edge of his bed, head in his hands. Sarah would tell him to go. Mark would say it was a good sign. But they didn't understand. Bringing someone into Noah's life meant risk. It meant the possibility of another person leaving. Another loss the boy would have to process. He went to Noah's room. His son was asleep, sprawled across the bed with one arm hanging off the side, still clutching a plastic stegosaurus. Daniel thought about Emma at the viewpoint, not flinching when he'd told her about Jennifer. The way she'd asked what Noah was like, not what was wrong with his mother. He pulled out his phone. Tomorrow works. Farmer's market at 10? Her response came immediately. Perfect. See you there. Daniel barely slept. The Pine Ridge Farmer's Market took over the town square every Saturday from April to October. Daniel and Noah arrived at 10, weaving through stalls of apples, pumpkins, and homemade bread. Noah held his hand tightly, suspicious of the crowd. "Why are we meeting your friend?" he asked, for the third time. "Because she's nice, and I think you'll like her. Does she know about dinosaurs?" "A little. A little isn't very much." Daniel spotted Emma near the honey stand. She wore jeans and a green flannel shirt, her hair down. When she saw them, she smiled but didn't rush over. She waited. Daniel appreciated that. "Noah," he said quietly. "That's Emma." Noah looked up at her as they approached. Emma crouched down slightly, putting herself at eye level. "Hi, Noah. I'm Emma. I'm 7. Noah said suspiciously. "I heard. That's a good age. Do you like dinosaurs?" "I think they're pretty cool. My favorite is the Ankylosaurus." Noah's eyes widened. "That's my favorite. I know." Emma glanced at Daniel with a small smile. "Your dad told me." They walked through the market together. Emma didn't try too hard. She didn't ask Noah a million questions or talk in a high-pitched voice. She just existed next to them, comfortable. At the apple cider stand, she bought 3 cups. Noah drank his in about 4 seconds, then ran to look at the pumpkins. "He's great," Emma said quietly. "He's cautious with new people. Smart kid." They watched Noah test the weight of different pumpkins, trying to find one he could actually lift. "Thank you," Daniel said. "For what?" "For not making this weird." Emma turned to him. "Daniel, I'm not here to audition. I'm just here." The simplicity of it hit him hard. Noah ran back, dragging a medium-sized pumpkin. "Can we get this one?" "Sure, buddy." As Daniel paid, Noah tugged Emma's sleeve. "Do you want to see my Lego dinosaurs?" Emma looked at Daniel. He nodded slightly. "I'd love to," she said. So they ended up at Daniel's cabin, a small 2-bedroom place at the edge of the woods. Inside, it smelled like pine and coffee. Noah's toys were everywhere despite Daniel's efforts to contain them. Noah disappeared into his room and returned with an elaborate Lego creation that was part Stegosaurus, part spaceship. "It's a time-traveling dinosaur," Noah explained seriously. "Because dinosaurs should get to see the future." Emma examined it carefully. "The engineering on this is really solid. See how you balanced the weight?" Noah beamed. Daniel stood in the kitchen doorway, watching Emma sit cross-legged on his living room floor, discussing Lego architecture with his 7-year-old son. Something shifted in his chest, something that felt like hope and terror in equal measure. After an hour, Emma stood to leave. Noah hugged her goodbye without being asked. "Can she come back?" he asked Daniel after she'd gone. "Maybe, bud. I like her." "Me too." That night, after Noah was asleep, Emma called. "Your son is wonderful," she said. "He liked you too." "That's rare." "Daniel?" "Yeah? I meant what I said earlier. I'm not performing. This is me showing up." She paused. "If it's too much or too fast, tell me, but don't push me away because you think I can't handle this." Daniel closed his eyes. "I'm scared." "Of what?" "Of you leaving. Of Noah getting attached and then losing someone else." "I can't promise I won't leave," Emma said quietly. No one can promise that, but I can promise I won't leave because being a father is too hard, or because Noah needs you, or because your life is complicated." Her voice steadied. "Complicated doesn't scare me. Dishonesty does. I'm being honest. I know. That's why I'm still here." They talked until midnight, about fears and ex-partners and the weight of starting over. When Daniel finally hung up, he felt exhausted and lighter somehow, like maybe, just maybe, he didn't have to carry everything alone. October turned to November. The aspen trees dropped their leaves. Pine Ridge prepared for winter. Emma became part of the routine. Not every day. Not intrusive, just present. She'd meet them at the park on Sunday afternoons. Noah would play on the swings while they walked the perimeter, talking about everything and nothing. One evening, Daniel was working late in his workshop, sanding a table frame, when his phone rang. "What are you doing?" Emma asked. "Working." "You?" "Reading a terrible project proposal." "Want company?" "It's 9 o'clock. I know what time it is." 20 minutes later, she showed up with 2 coffees and sat on his workbench, watching him sand. "You don't have to stay," Daniel said. "I know, but she did." For 2 hours, she sat there, occasionally asking questions about the wood or the joinery, mostly just existing in his space. When Daniel finally stopped, hands aching, she handed him his coffee. "This is what I do," he said. "Most nights. After Noah's asleep. It's not exciting." "I don't need exciting," Emma said. "I spent 10 years chasing exciting. It was exhausting." "What do you need?" She looked at him steadily. "Real." They started seeing each other 3, sometimes 4 times a week. Emma would come over for dinner. Nothing fancy, just pasta or tacos, with Noah chattering between them. She'd help with dishes while Daniel got Noah ready for bed. One night, after Noah was asleep, they sat on Daniel's small back porch. The November air was cold, stars sharp overhead. "Can I tell you something?" Emma said. "Always. I didn't think I'd do this again. After my divorce, I was done. No more relationships, no more trying to fit into someone else's life." "What changed?" "You didn't ask me to fit." She pulled her jacket tighter. "You just let me be here." Daniel reached over and took her hand. She laced her fingers through his. "I'm falling for you," he said quietly. "That terrifies me." "Good," Emma said. "Easy is overrated." They sat in the cold until Daniel's fingers went numb, neither wanting to move. Noah asked questions constantly now. "Is Emma your girlfriend? Is she going to live here? Can she come to my birthday?" His birthday. December 3rd. Still 3 weeks away. Daniel mentioned it to Emma during one of their evening calls. "He wants you there," Daniel said. "If that's too much, I'll be there. You don't have to." "Daniel." Her voice was firm. "I'll be there." The party was small. Just a few kids from Noah's class at the Pine Ridge Community Center. Sarah helped set up. Mark brought pizza. Emma arrived with a wrapped present and a quiet confidence. Noah spotted her immediately and ran over. "You came." Of course, the gift was perfect. A book about paleontology, but also a build-your-own dinosaur skeleton kit, so you can see how they're put together, Emma explained. Noah hugged her so hard he nearly knocked her over. Daniel watched from across the room. Mark appeared at his elbow. "She's good with him," Mark said. "Yeah. You going to mess this up?" Daniel shot him a look. "Probably." "Don't." Mark clapped his shoulder. "You deserve this, man." The party chaos swirled around them. Kids screaming, cake smashing, the beautiful disaster of 7-year-olds hopped up on sugar. Through it all, Emma helped clean up, mediated a dispute over party favors, and sat with the quiet kid who didn't know anyone. At the end, when the last parent had picked up their child, Noah crashed on the couch, exhausted and happy. Emma started gathering trash. Daniel caught her hand. "You don't have to do that." "I know." "Emma." She looked at him. "Thank you," he said, "for being here. For him." I'm not here for him, she said gently. I mean, I like Noah. But I'm here for you. He's part of you. I get that. Sarah drove Noah home. Daniel and Emma finished cleaning the community center in comfortable silence. In the parking lot, under the December stars, Emma leaned against her car. I should tell you something, she said. Daniel's stomach dropped. Here it comes. The too much, the can't do this. I'm falling in love with you, Emma said. With both of you. Your whole messy, complicated, beautiful life. She met his eyes. And that scares me, because I swore I wouldn't do this again. Daniel stepped closer. What changed your mind? You didn't ask me to change mine, you just asked me to show up. He kissed her then. Soft and certain. When they pulled apart, Emma was smiling. So, she said. What now? Now? Daniel took her hand. Now we figure it out. Together. Winter settled over Pine Ridge. Snow came early, blanketing the town in white silence. Emma's presence became woven into their lives in small ways. She brought groceries when Daniel was swamped with a big commission. She picked Noah up from school when Daniel's truck broke down. She never announced herself, never made a show of helping. She just did what needed doing. One evening in mid-December, Noah got sick. Fever, chills, the works. Daniel sat with him, cool cloth on his forehead, while Noah shivered. Emma showed up at 8 with soup and children's medicine. Sarah told me, she said at the door. Can I help? You don't have to, Daniel. She stepped inside. Stop telling me what I don't have to do. They took shifts through the night. Daniel would sit with Noah while Emma dozed on the couch, then they'd switch. At 3 in the morning, Noah's fever broke. Emma was reading in the kitchen when Daniel came out, exhausted. He's sleeping, Daniel said. Good. She stood, stretched. I should go. Stay. She looked at him. Yeah, please. They fell asleep on Daniel's couch, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. When Noah padded out at 6, still pale but better, he found them there. Is Emma sleeping over now? He asked. Daniel opened one eye. Just this once, bud. Okay. Noah climbed between them, and Emma automatically made room, still half asleep. They stayed like that, the three of them, as dawn light filled the cabin. The workshop became their space. Emma would bring her laptop and work at the bench while Daniel built furniture. Sometimes they'd talk. Often they wouldn't. The companionship was enough. One night, she looked up from her screen. I need to tell you something. Daniel set down his plane. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong. But I got offered a promotion, senior project manager. It's a good opportunity. His stomach tightened. Congratulations. It's in Denver. There it was. The other shoe dropping. When? He managed. I haven't accepted. Emma closed her laptop. I wanted to talk to you first. It's your career. Daniel. She stood. I'm not asking your permission. I'm asking what you want. What I want? Yes. Do you want me to stay? Do you want to try this? Or are we just passing time? He crossed to her. I want you to stay. I want this. I want you. He took her hands. But I can't ask you to give up your career. You're not asking. I'm choosing. She squeezed his hands. I like my job here. I like Pine Ridge. I like this life. And I love you. Emma, you don't have to say it back. Not until you're ready. But I needed you to know. Daniel pulled her close. I love you, he said against her hair. I've loved you since the farmer's market. Maybe before. Yeah? Yeah. She turned down the promotion. Told her boss she was exactly where she needed to be. January brought brutal cold and a message Daniel never expected. Jennifer wanted to see Noah. The text came on a Tuesday afternoon, short and direct. I know I have no right, but I want to see our son, please. Daniel stared at his phone until the screen went dark. He called Emma immediately. She what? Emma's voice was tight. Wants to visit. Says she's in Colorado. Wants to see him. What are you going to do? I don't know. Daniel pressed his palm against his forehead. She left. She gave up custody. She doesn't get to just... What does the custody agreement say? She has visitation rights. She's never used them. Silence on the line. Daniel, Emma said carefully. What do you want to do? I want to protect him. I know. But maybe this is her trying. The words hit hard because Emma was right. He didn't owe Jennifer anything. But Noah deserved to know his mother if she was genuinely trying to be in his life. That didn't make it hurt less. Over the next few days, Daniel pulled away. Not intentionally. But Emma would call and he'd keep it short. She'd offer to come over and he'd say he was busy. On Friday, she showed up anyway. We need to talk, she said at the door. Noah was at Sarah's. The cabin was quiet. I'm fine, Daniel said automatically. You're not. Emma followed him to the kitchen. I'm dealing with this. Alone. Like you deal with everything. He spun to face her. This is different. This is my son. My ex. You can't. Can't what? Be here for you? Her voice rose. I'm not asking you to handle this for you. I'm asking you to let me stand next to you while you do. What if she takes him? The words burst out. What if she decides she wants custody? What if I lose him? Then we fight. Emma stepped closer. Together. Why? Daniel's voice cracked. Why would you sign up for this? This is a mess. This is complicated and painful, and because I love you. She grabbed his arms. Because you don't have to carry this alone anymore. Because that's what this is, Daniel. You and me. We're a team. He broke, then. Weeks of stress and fear pouring out. Emma held him while he cried, her hands steady on his back. When he could breathe again, she pulled back. Let her visit, she said quietly. Here, with you present. See what she wants. And I'll be right here if you need me. You don't have to. Stop. She put her hand over his mouth. Stop telling me what I don't have to do. Start telling me what you need. I need you, he whispered. I need this. Us. Then you have it. They made the arrangements. Jennifer would visit the following Saturday. 1 hour at Daniel's cabin, supervised. The night before, Emma came over after Noah was asleep. I won't be here tomorrow, she said. This is something you need to do with just Noah. But I'm a phone call away. Okay, she kissed him. You're a good father. Whatever happens, remember that. Saturday arrived cold and clear. Noah was nervous, asking questions Daniel didn't have answers for. Why does she want to see me now? I don't know, buddy. Is she going to stay? No. Just visiting. Jennifer arrived at 2. She looked older, tired. Her hands shook when she knocked. Daniel opened the door. Jennifer. Daniel. She looked past him. Is he? In the living room, Noah stood by the couch, small and uncertain. When he saw Jennifer, something flickered across his face. Recognition, maybe, or just curiosity. Hi, Noah, Jennifer said softly. The hour was excruciating. Jennifer tried, asking about school and friends. Noah answered in short sentences, polite but distant. Daniel sat nearby, watching, ready to intervene. At 3, Jennifer stood. I should go. Noah nodded. At the door, Jennifer turned to Daniel. Thank you for letting me see him. This doesn't change anything, Daniel said quietly. He's stable now, happy. I won't let that get disrupted. I know. Jennifer's eyes filled. I'm not trying to take him. I needed to see that he was okay. He's better than okay. Because of you. She wiped her eyes. You're a good father, Daniel. You always were. After she left, Noah was quiet. Daniel sat next to him on the couch. How do you feel, bud? I don't know. Noah leaned against him. Is she going to visit again? Do you want her to? Maybe. But just sometimes. Okay. We can do that. Noah looked up at him. Dad? Yeah? Can Emma come over now? Daniel smiled despite everything. Yeah. I'll call her. Emma arrived 20 minutes later with hot chocolate and patience. She sat with Noah, letting him talk or not talk, just being present. Later, after Noah went to bed, she and Daniel stood in the kitchen. How are you? She asked. Tired. Relieved. He pulled her close. Grateful. For what? That you're here. That you stayed. Emma looked up at him. I'm not going anywhere, Daniel. This is it for me. You and Noah. This life. I'm choosing it. Every day. He kissed her forehead. I'm choosing you, too. Good. She smiled. Because we're kind of a package deal now. Through the window, snow began to fall, soft and steady. Inside, the cabin was warm. Noah slept peacefully down the hall. Daniel held Emma and thought about the man he'd been a year ago, standing outside a coffee shop, convinced he was unchosen, unworthy. He'd been wrong. Love hadn't shown up with fireworks or grand gestures. It had arrived quietly, in a woman who brought soup when his son was sick, who sat in his workshop doing nothing in particular, who stayed when staying was hard. What are you thinking? Emma asked. That I'm lucky. We both are. They stayed like that as the snow fell, building a soft, white world outside. Inside, they had something stronger. Something built on honesty and showing up and choosing each other, again and again. Not a fairy tale. Something better. Something real. 3 months later, spring came to Pine Ridge with wildflowers and warming air. Daniel finished a custom bookshelf for a client in town. Emma got promoted to regional manager, a role she could do from Pine Ridge. Noah's dinosaur obsession evolved to include geology, the cabin filled with rocks. One Sunday afternoon, they hiked Silver Lake Trail together, all 3 of them. At the viewpoint, Noah ran ahead to examine interesting stones. Emma leaned against Daniel, looking out at the valley. Happy? She asked. Very. Me too. Noah called them over to see a rock shaped like a stegosaurus plate. They admired it appropriately. On the hike back, Noah walked between them, holding both their hands. Are you guys going to get married? He asked suddenly. Daniel and Emma looked at each other over his head. Maybe someday, Emma said. Okay. Noah seemed satisfied. Can I be in the wedding? Definitely, Daniel said. Cool. That easily. The future was spoken into existence. Back at the cabin, while Noah built elaborate rock formations on the porch, Daniel pulled Emma aside. Did you mean that? He asked. About someday? Did you? Yeah. He took her hands. I want all of it. The messy, complicated, real thing. Emma smiled. Then, that's what we'll build. And they did. Not perfectly. There were hard days and arguments and moments of doubt. Jennifer visited twice more that spring, short, supervised visits that gradually became less awkward. But through it all, Daniel and Emma chose each other, chose the hard conversations, chose to stay when leaving would be easier, chose to build something that would last. In his workshop late one night, Daniel carved their initials into the underside of a table he was building. E+D+N, a family made not by blood or obligation, but by choice. Emma found him there, brought him coffee. Come to bed, she said. In a minute. She saw what he'd carved and smiled. Sentimental, maybe. She kissed his temple. I love you, Carpenter. I love you too. The table would go to a customer in Denver, but the message carved beneath would remain. A reminder that some things, built carefully and with intention, really do last. Daniel turned off the workshop lights and followed Emma inside, to the warmth, to the home they'd made together, to the life he'd stopped believing he deserved, and she'd taught him to accept. One day at a time, one choice, at a time. Together,